From the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com, you're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Hello? 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 I guess it's working. Hey! It's the Bryan and Vinny Show here.
That's our intro?
December 12, 2019, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. Guess you got it behind the scenes there. Me trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. I never know. Been doing this for 25 years. I don't know what's going on. 20 years. What's 2019 minus 1999?
20 years.
20 years. 20 fucking years I've been doing this. It's still shit half the time. Anyway, it is the AEW and NXT show here tonight. We're going to review both of these shows, and it's going to be very exciting, and I don't know what else to say.
I guess we'll get started then.
Now I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh my god, anything else? Now I gotta blow my nose. We could just start over.
I like that you muted both of us.
Well, I mean,
I could have filled time.
Everyone would still hear it if your mic's on.
I see.
So I didn't want to subject them to that disgusting, the multiple sneezes, the gross nose blowing, all of it.
All you've done now is subject the video customers who are paying more to this.
Yeah, but they can't hear it.
The sight of you silently sneezing and blowing your nose.
What the hell? Who cares? They're getting a bonus.
WWE NXT, December 11th, 2019.
Of the year 2019.
Of the year 2019. The rapidly approaching the end of the year 2019.
Oh, we forgot we were going to start with the ratings.
We do that.
Yeah.
Why should anything this week go right?
Hey, well, let's just do it last or something. All right, so if you haven't heard, this is like, I didn't even look through my responses this week. I actually should. So, 8,000 likes, 1,000 retweets, 902 comments. What in God's name are 902 people saying about these numbers I tweeted out today? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, AEW, 778,000 viewers. NXT, 778,000 viewers.
Pretty close.
When I first heard these numbers, I didn't believe it.
Sure.
I thought,
I would also have thought there's an error somewhere.
no way. So I actually waited. If you see here, momentarily, earlier I wrote, hold on a second. I was double checking. Fucking turns out, 778,000 for AEW, 778,000 for NXT. They tied.
Yes.
How?
Well,
I'll tell you how.
all right.
So, of course, we must dig deeper. The demos were very similar to what they are every week. This week, NXT only won the single demo they always win, which is 50+. Mm-hmm. AEW won every other demo. But there's still, whatever happened. They are no longer doubling NXT in the demos. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened. I don't know if half of the 18 to 49s, 18 to 34s or whatever have decided they're going to watch NXT for a while. I don't know what happened. But the days of AEW doubling NXT are over. They beat them, not quite by a hair like last week, but it was close. It was very close. Now, there's two things here that are going to make the folks that believe that I'm being paid by AEW even more certain that I'm being paid.
All right.
But these are just facts. This is the reality. NXT had a 9-minute overrun. If you only count the head-to-head 2 hours, AEW won.
Aha.
So, if you add in the overrun, it was a tie.
Got it.
If you subtract the overrun, AEW won. That's number one. And number two, which will also make people very, very upset. There was a blackout Spectrum cable. TNT was blacked out. And so if you have Spectrum cable, you could watch NXT, but you could not watch AEW.
Is a contractual blackout kind of thing, or like a technical problem?
I actually have no idea.
Oh, all right.
I just know it wasn't on. So the fact of the matter is that right there was enough to cost AEW enough that it was a tie.
If it cost him a viewer,
Sure.
he would have won.
So I mean, if you count those things, like AEW did have more viewers, but the numbers are the numbers. It was a tie. I'm just telling you the facts here, and you know the only thing about the numbers that's kind of mildly disturbing is if you add up 778 and 778. You get about 1.56 or something like that.
Million, yeah.
1.56 million. These two shows combined were doing about 1.7 million.
Uh-oh.
So we are down. We are down. And I don't know why. Spectrum could have been part of that. I don't know. But next week, very big shows. Both shows have big-time main events.
Yes.
And so
They're loading up for Bear and what appears to be the last show of the year for both of them.
actually, there is going to be an NXT show on Christmas.
Really?
Yes, but it's not going to be live.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to be. But yeah, next week's show is going to be very big. I would hope that the combined audience is above 1.58 million or whatever. But I guess we'll see. Those are the numbers for this week. A fucking tie.
Well, let's get into this tie and see who tied better. So NXT is doing their opening video when Adam Cole interrupts. He plugs the triple threat match in the main event where the winner will get a title shot against him next week, but it's a backhanded plug where he buries the whole card, or buries the whole match. It's the stupidest thing he's ever heard, he says. None of these men have done anything to earn a championship opportunity. Angel Garza versus Lio Rush.
Man, what an opener.
Holy Christ, what a match. God, this was awesome.
Did you think this was better than their first one?
Well, I don't remember their first one, so I guess yes.
It was like 3 weeks ago.
I remember Lio Rush having a great match. I guess I forgot. Oh, because Angel took his pants off for the family. Yes. This was better.
Really?
Yes.
I thought the first one was better, but this was pretty damn awesome.
This was great. Couple things. We could hear the ref. The ref's mic was the ring. Well, the ref's mic. The ring was mic'd too loudly, so I could hear everything the ref said. At one point, they were going so fast, I actually couldn't tell if they were on the same page or not. I think they were, but it was hard to tell. And the ref told them to slow down. They were going back and forth the whole time. Lio Rush gets dropped neck first on the ropes and does this amazing backwards leaping ragdoll cell. Or ragdog, I don't know. It was fantastic. There's 200 dives. Leo's big move, it's not his finish always, but his big move is the come up, where he runs to the ropes, bounces ass first off the bottom rope, and comes backwards and hits a big stunner. Garza not only evaded this, but in the process hit his own come up, which is like the coolest thing I've seen all day. It was not a perfect match. There's a point where they're on their knees trading punches, and they both look bad. And you can hear the ref say, "Lay him in, guys." It leads to a big double flop for a big standing ovation.
I love that lay it in.
Well,
I mean,
if you can't throw a worked punch...
I know, but like my whole thing is let's learn how to throw some worked punches. You know what I'm saying?
He could have said,
Instead of
do
being
better
down
shit.
there, they do that performance. This is not all they do. But I mean, there's a lot of calisthenics.
Yes.
There's a lot of lifting weights.
A lot of drills, yes.
Like, how about you work on throwing punches so the ref doesn't have to tell you to lay it in?
That would be better.
Yeah.
It would be better if they worked more on wrestling and less on track and field. So they go back and forth. They start to steal each other's moves. And Garza teased taking his pants off in the beginning, but he left them on. And 20 minutes later, Lio hits the frog splash, which is his finish. And Garza tries to crawl away. Lio grabs his pants, but Garza escapes. His pants come off like a gecko shedding its tail. Just the best spot ever. Lio tries a frog splash on the floor, hits the knees, gets thrown back in. Garza hits the wing clipper, which is still not the finish. But instead of panicking, the wing clipper, if you've never seen it, it's like a double arm suplex, but instead of flipping him over, he basically drops us down to his ass. So he just holds on. He's got a sugar hold right there anyway, and he cranks it in, and Lio taps. It was an absolutely great match. The other thing notable that I've been talking about for a while, the crowd loves Angel and his wacky pants. So when he came out for this match, he's slapping everyone's hands like a total babyface. And then during the ring intros, Leo jumped him like a dick. Now after that, they had a straight match back and forth. There was no definitive babyface and heel, but Angel wins. He is, by the way, your new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And then there is they go to break, and there's a couple of hype videos, but they come back afterwards and show us what happened during the break, which was Angel Garza saying there's 4 things that matter in his life. Wrestling, the support of the NXT universe.
Since when?
Well, 2 weeks, apparently. His family, who are there, and his girlfriend. And minutes after winning the NXT Cruiserweight title, he brings his girlfriend into the ring. He gets down on one knee. He presents a ring. He asks for her hand in marriage. He accepts, or she accepts, which is why this is, I believe, shown during the break. So in case she said no, they didn't have to air it.
Well, that wasn't going to happen.
You never know. So this is all great, great, great television, and the crowd ate up the match. They ate up the proposal. Angel Garza is a hero now. We'll see what they do with Leo. But this was awesome. This would be a better match than anything on TLC. I practically guarantee it. And just tremendous, out-of-this-world, great pro wrestling.
All right, so I got a bunch of things to say. The match itself was awesome. The only thing that I really didn't like about the match, aside from the ref telling the dudes to lay it in when they were punching each other, was they're doing all these great near falls, and then finally there at the end, he hits that wing clipper. And I'm a huge fan of Mauro Ranallo, but Mauro Ranallo, big-time faux pas. He hits that the wing clipper, and Mauro Ranallo declares that we have a new champion.
Yes, the Michael Cole. Well, one of the Michael Cole moves.
Every single time in WWE that the announcer tells you that we have a new champion, it's always a kick out. Always, every last single time. And in fact, the dude kicked out. Place went absolutely crazy when he hit the wing clipper. So there's a kick out, and then he puts on the reverse full Nelson, and he just submits him. I didn't like it.
I thought it was great.
I thought the finish should have been the wing clipper. I thought that it was one of those things where they thought, you know what, everyone's going to think the wing clipper is the finish. So let's give him one more shocker, and then I'll put you in a reverse full Nelson, and you'll give up. I think they should have kept it simple. It didn't hurt the match. It didn't ruin the match for me. I was just irritated that it was such a great moment when he finally hit that wing clipper. Everybody wanted to be the finish, and it wasn't, just so he could do a reverse full Nelson.
I think we had this exact same argument, but reversed. Like it was Tyler Bate and Walter, because Walter had some giant move.
Yep.
And Bate kicked out, and Walter had one more lariat.
Yep.
And I was of the opinion that it was overkill, and you were of the opinion that you liked the lariat. So
I didn't like it here.
We have switched that, which is fine.
Yeah.
We have just different tastes, but
So they do the finish, and as you noted, afterwards he proposed. And he listed his 4 things, and one of them was the support of the WWE Universe. Yes, a lot of people were very upset at our review last night because we didn't notice. Or actually, Dave kind of did note that this guy's supposed to be a heel. He has this big-time babyface thing with his girlfriend, and everybody goes crazy. Here's the thing, everybody. If you want to say that you think it sucks that Angel Garza was a heel playboy, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he proposes to his girlfriend, and he's like the biggest babyface in the company with no turn. If you want to say that sucks, fine. I don't care.
sure.
And I'm going to tell you why. This guy was supposed to be a heel, but everybody has been cheering him as a babyface forever.
This is the key. It didn't come out of nowhere.
He was miscast as a heel. Everybody loved the guy. They were cheering the guy anyway. So fine, he's a babyface now.
Yeah.
The turn was he proposed to his wife and he proposed to the NXT universe.
He really did.
That's what happened here. Yes. So I was cool with that. And the other thing, I mentioned this on the show last night. I don't know how many people knew that he was going to do this. He may have only told Triple H. Mm-hmm. His own mother, she decided on her own, I am going to surprise young Angel. I'm going to fly in and watch his show.
Really?
She had no idea he was going to win the title. Mm-hmm. She had no idea he was going to propose. She had no idea of any of this. So she was there in the audience when he did this.
Cool.
It's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Everything about this was awesome. Yes, Angel Garza is so great. He's the best babyface. I had people texting me for Observer Live today saying that like he's the modern day Eddie Guerrero. I don't want to throw a wet blanket on this, but if this guy goes up to the main roster when Vince is still around, he has no hope. He needs to stay here in NXT and be Eddie Guerrero here, because if he goes to the main roster, he's going to be Chavo Guerrero.
Ooh, good point.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to leave this place anymore.
Really, it doesn't work out well for anyone.
I mean, the only guy that can leave is Keith Lee.
Because he's safe.
Trust me, that dude's safe. Look what they did to Lars Sullivan. If you look like Lars Sullivan, if you look like Keith Lee, you're going to be pushed. You look like this Angel Garza, Vince ain't going to figure out why you take your pants off.
I can see him ordering to keep his pants on.
Well, he'll tell him to put his pants on, or he'll be confused and come up with some gimmick about he's a, some creep that takes his pants off. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I've been watching this for a long time.
Yeah. We had a Shayna Baszler hype video. So Shayna's into cars, and she's working on a 1969 Mustang. Which, by the way, I watched this show Wednesday. I watched this show Wednesday night, and went out and watched. I didn't watch the movie first. Anyway, I watched Ford versus Ferrari. It's awesome. Everyone go see Ford versus Ferrari. Tremendous movie. A lot of Mustangs in it. So Shayna used to work on cars with her dad. That was her bonding experience with her father. And a lot of people, she says, a lot of people in NXT, they want to be the Tesla. But there's something about...
Yeah, we just saw two of them in the opener.
That's true, actually. There's something about muscle cars. All the flavors of the month that she's already beaten. Ember Moon. What the hell ever happened to Ember Moon, by the way?
Well, she went to the main roster, Vinny.
Oh, that's sad.
And she got hurt, and she's doing nothing.
Dakota Kai, Nikki Cross, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. Rhea's fate will be the same as everyone else, she says. Tap, nap, or snap. This was outstanding.
So this is part of a special that's airing on Tuesday on the network. And they could have just put all of this on the network, but they decided to take clips from it and put it on the actual USA Network television show to promote the match next week.
Excellent.
Great.
Fantastic.
And, I mean, I don't know 1,000%, but, I mean, the fact that they're doing a Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley 30-minute special on the WWE Network the night before next week's show, I don't think there's any chance Rhea is not leaving with that title. I believe that next Wednesday is Shayna Baszler's swan song. I think she will be defeated. I think she will be on the main roster first week of 2019.
All of this makes sense. From a rational standpoint, there's no reason, no place to argue. Cameron Grimes is warming up backstage. We have a Finn Balor hype video where he says William Regal put him in a triple threat match, like he has to prove himself. Keith Lee has been relevant for 3 weeks. Ciampa calls the title he made famous Goldie. He lists all of his accomplishments and warns Adam Cole that his future will be his past.
Point about Goldie is that I'm a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, first ever Universal Champion. Next week I'll be a 2-time NXT Champion. He knows about gold.
Yes.
Disgusted he calls this belt Goldie.
Here's where we had Angel Garza doing his proposal. It is a good thing he won this match. She may have said no otherwise.
It's true, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Raul Mendoza versus Cameron Grimes. So, last night at the Performance Center, Cameron Grimes attacked Kushida. This match goes 1 minute.
They don't have better security at the WWE Performance Center.
It does seem to happen a lot.
I mean, my God. Like,
There's a lot of
get some
attacks
cops in there or something.
It's a very unsafe working environment. The 2000 edition of Vince McMahon would be appalled. So this match goes 1 minute. Kushida distracts. Maybe attracts him too, I don't know. He distracts Cameron Grimes. They screw up the finish once. They try it again. It's a pop-up Rana. Cameron Grimes wins. And then Kushida steals Cameron Grimes' hat.
I guess that's better than Jericho spilling coffee on Kane. But I mean, in terms of like setting up feuds,
at least he did it on purpose.
This is a really weird way to do it.
This segment sucked. It was dumb. I can only assume that Cruiserweight match must have gone really long. Because they zip these guys in and zip these guys out.
Well, dude, it was Raul Mendoza and Cameron Grimes. I mean, Raul Mendoza's winning, so you may as well just get it over with and fluke it and then do your thing.
I guess so. Kathy interviews Mia Yim. She promises Dakota...
Kathy asked a fine question. I got to put it over when they do it.
Fair.
I don't remember what it was, but it was fine.
Mia Yim promised that Dakota Kai would leave in an ambulance. We had a short video on Travis Banks from NXT UK. He is from New Zealand. He hits really hard.
God, speaking of.
Then we got Jackson Riker versus Travis Banks.
All these weeks and months and years where I have absolutely no idea who the Forgotten Sons are, but I know who Jackson Riker is. Why is he always outside doing nothing, I ask? He's got a great look. He's a mean-looking dude. Big guy. Gets in the ring and just beats the hell out of this guy, and he busts his eye up. This dude's bleeding all over the place. And then Banks makes a comeback. He does a springboard enziguri or some such
A wacky jumping
gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And Riker kicks out at 3.1, jumps right up to his feet afterwards. And I was like, what in God's name was the point of any of this?
I don't know.
I mean, you beat the guy, but then you wanted to tell us that it was a fluke. And Travis Banks didn't get over.
No.
And Riker didn't get over.
No.
And
we the fans were not entertained.
It was such a useless segment. Like, I think the idea is it's a Worlds Collide show, and it's NXT versus NXT UK, and we, got to give these NXT UK guys something. So Travis Banks has to get the W. He's got to get his hand raised. Well, we don't want to hurt Jackson Riker, God forbid. But you can't do that.
Yeah.
Find a guy that Travis Banks can beat, and there you go.
This did not make me excited for Jackson Riker or Travis Banks or Worlds Collide.
Worlds Collide,
Yeah,
nothing.
It's promoted nothing.
I was excited for nothing after this.
I describe this as a 5-minute match done in 1 minute. Mia Yim versus Dakota Kai. I am sad they took away Dakota's entrance video of Tegan Knox being attacked and screaming.
Why would they do that?
I don't know why they did it. But they did. So, I wrote very little about this match.
Well, I wrote a lot. You want me to do it?
All right.
So Mia Yim attacks her leg because she has a bad leg, and they go back and forth, all sorts of near falls and that sort of thing. And finally, Mia throws her inside. Dakota starts to get the knee brace out of the corner. Ref is getting rid of it, and Dakota removes the corner pad, runs Mia to the buckle, rolls her up, pins her.
Okay. That's all I had for the match.
So Dakota Kai just turned, and she just destroyed Tegan Knox.
Yes.
We haven't seen since, by the way.
She destroyed her.
She destroyed her. So, obviously, she's got to beat Mia Yim.
Yes.
Then we have the exact same thing that we had in the last match. Mia Yim attacks Dakota. They fight all over the place. They brawl over by this production table. Mia picks her up and gives her a high-angle back suplex off a platform. They're supposed to go through 2 tables, but they don't.
No.
They go through 1 table. Dakota hits her head on the second table and then hits her head on the ground.
Yeah.
She ends up with 8 staples in her head. Thankfully, they're alive. I was worried it was a lot worse than 8 staples.
This was terrifying.
I thought they were dead. But anyway, the point of this is, she kills her, and then Mia Yim jumps to her feet, and she's apparently okay, and that's the segment. And I just thought, isn't the money match, one of the money matches, Dakota and Tegan?
You would
right?
Yeah.
Why is Mia Yim destroying Dakota Kai?
I don't have an answer.
I know the answer is we don't want to hurt Mia or whatever. And I mean, Dakota won. So Mia's getting something back because we want to keep her strong. You can't keep everybody strong. When Dakota turned and killed Tegan Knox, I was like, what a great angle. We all saw it coming, but that's not bad. It made sense.
No, it's a good thing.
Everything about it was great. And now, after last week, where if I recall correctly, Dakota got beaten up by Mia.
Yeah.
Then this week they do the match and she gets killed by Mia. I mean, I could not possibly care about seeing Dakota Kai versus Tegan Knox.
Yeah, I don't know what this was. This was terrifying and scary. Like, we'll get to the next show, but there was like 87 guys going through tables in that one. And I never cared about any of them. This one, I pretty much screamed. And like you say, they're trying to have all the best of both worlds. They're trying to keep everyone happy, and as a result, no one comes off looking good. Everyone's a loser. Keith Lee hype video says he will go out of his way to dismantle Tommaso Ciampa. He is a bigger star literally and figuratively than Finn Balor. He can pick them both up at the same time. He will make them bask in his glory. Breezango versus the Singh brothers.
Dude, I was just watching this show, and like, everyone in this match is good.
Yes.
But it's the Fashion Police versus the Singh brothers.
Yes.
I just watched this show and I thought, they're going to get killed by AEW. They're going to get killed. What in God's name are they putting on television? Turns out they didn't get killed. They tied. That's actually bad news for AEW, quite frankly.
If you can't beat this, yes.
I mean, they tied against the Fashion Police and the Singh brothers. And then, for whatever reason, Fandango, who I'm a big fan of,
what the hell was he thinking?
he just decided he was going to kill Samir. What did Samir ever do?
I don't know.
He killed this dude.
They're out there doing bumps in the floor and bumps into the apron. Fandango, I believe, did a leg drop to the floor, if I remember right. There was a lot of insanity going on. And then Fandango got the win with a leg drop inside the ring. The Singh brothers, they may as well just call them, dye their hair and be the Bollywood Blondes, because they're doing all the Hollywood Blondes mannerisms.
I had never thought of the Bollywood Blondes.
Yeah, well, they're doing all the
that's a good idea,
Hollywood
actually.
Blondes mannerisms. They're doing the camera thing. They're doing the Bollywood dancing. They may as well just take it all the way with it. So, although they're going to lose every week and get their asses kicked every week, maybe it doesn't matter. That was weird, is what I wrote about this. Rhea Ripley hype video. She's doing some radio hits in the Orlando area, the Florida area. We have childhood pics of young Rhea. Talks about her time in the 2 Mae Young Classics. And she won the first NXT UK Women's title. Then she won War Games. And then she dominated at Survivor Series. The only thing she has left is to challenge Shayna Baszler. This stuff was all so good.
You know, Rhea Ripley and... I forget how old Pete Dunne is. He's not that old. How old is Pete Dunne?
25 or less.
I know Tyler Bate is really young.
He's a little older than Tyler Bate, but not much.
All right, Pete Dunne is 26 years old. Yeah. Anyway, I was on Instagram the other day, and you know, all this WWE stuff always pops up on my Instagram.
Sure.
And Rhea Ripley had a new picture up there, and Pete Dunne had a new picture. And I started scrolling through all their pictures. And both of them are young enough that they have been on Instagram for a long time.
Yes.
So, like, literally, you can scroll through Pete Dunne's Instagram and Rhea Ripley's Instagram and, like, go all the way back to, like, their high school days and their middle school days.
Sure.
Seeing them before they were anything. And you can, like, go through the pictures and then all of a sudden, hey, there's the first picture they posted that had anything to do with wrestling. So, I'm looking through these pictures, and it made me like both of them more.
Sure.
Because I learned a lot about them and their lives and what they did before they got into wrestling. And when they did this Rhea Ripley video package here, they just had like a couple of pictures here and there, but she mentions like, you know, I've always liked wrestling, and I got into it when I was 15. I started training, and they've got these pictures of her when she was a kid, and like she's a normal-looking person back then. Yeah. She's not normal looking.
She's
now.
not normal looking.
She
now.
looks like a star now.
Yes.
Back then, she just looked like a person.
Right.
My God, go through Pete Dunne's Instagram. That's the guy that looks like a person.
I'm sure he
does. But anyway,
actually,
you see all this stuff, and it just makes you kind of get behind them more. They're like real people who loved wrestling, and they worked really hard, and they got into it at a young age, and they worked their asses off, and they worked their way up the ladder, and now they're here in WWE. This thing was only like 2 minutes long, but I just thought it was so great.
Yeah.
I thought it was so great.
Humanize these people.
Yes, they need to be humans. Like, you want them to be superstars, but you also want them to be humans.
Don't be cartoons.
No.
Larger-than-life stars who are realistic and believable and relatable. Which doesn't, to me, sound complicated.
It's not complicated. People make it complicated. They make everything about wrestling complicated. All I try to do is make things simple.
Kaden Carter versus Bianca Belair.
Talk about making things complicated. This should have been 10 seconds.
It was a squash. All I wrote was extended squash, and Bianca wins with KO.
Yeah, the key word is extended. This probably should not have been extended.
It probably went 5 minutes. Did not need to go more than one. Tommaso Ciampa hype video. While Finn Balor is worried about the Demon and the Prince, Ciampa is focused on the same thing he's been focused on for 5 years. Tonight is about Goldie. After the match, he wants Cole to take a look and understand his days are numbered. So, we get to the big three-way, which has been pushed for all week and all 2 hours of the show, all 90 minutes of the show at this point. And we get a big entrance for Tommaso Ciampa, and a big entrance for Keith Lee, and a big entrance for the former champion Finn Balor. And they wrestle for 1 minute, and we go to commercial. Stop doing that. Don't waste my time. So, they had a pretty good three-way. They did the scariest Tower of Doom spot.
Oh, it was the most awesome Tower
I know
of
he's
Doom
the Hulk
spot.
and all. That's his gimmick, basically. Keith Lee is the Hulk. And I know he's much, much larger.
Well, this is the way, I'll explain it the way that people can really envision it, okay? First off, imagine that Tommaso Ciampa has Finn Balor on his shoulders like he's going to give him the rack. Imagine that Ciampa's Lex Luger, okay? He's got Balor on his shoulders to do the rack. Now imagine they're both on Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've never even seen anything like this. And then he just dropped them both, and they all fell down.
Yeah, he was an air raid crash of basically the same position, but they were up on the ropes, and Keith Lee came up underneath them to carry them back, and everyone survived, but there was some weebling and wobbling here, and it was scary. So it was a good TV main event with an awesome finish. Balor is momentarily nowhere to be seen, and Lee is running wild on Ciampa. And Lee goes for his finish, which he calls the Spirit Bomb. It's a power bomb where he jumps and lands with a guy. But he lifts him up for the power bomb, which means his vision is obscured. All he can see at that point is Tommaso Ciampa's belly button, which means he can't see Finn Balor scampering up to the top rope. And when Lee drops him in this power bomb, at the same time, Finn Balor dives through the air and comes down and lands on Lee with a coup de grace. And then Finn Balor pins Keith Lee. Now, as a finish, this was spectacular and awesome, and that was great. As far as what was going to happen in this match, we talked about it. We had no idea who was going to win and how none of these guys should lose. This may have been the last combination of things I would have booked. Because now the match is heel Adam Cole versus heel Finn Balor, and you pinned the guy who was the hottest one coming in. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe Keith Lee will be okay. Maybe Keith Lee will be called up is the other thing.
Yeah, he could be called up. Here's the thing with this match. I mean, I've said this a million times. Like, if you don't want to beat Keith Lee, then maybe Keith Lee shouldn't be in this match. And obviously, Survivor Series weekend, Keith Lee got mega over. I mean, if they hadn't done any of that NXT stuff at Survivor Series, this match, I'm 99% sure, would have been Tommaso Ciampa, Finn Balor, winner gets Adam Cole. Boom, okay? So Keith Lee gets super over, and they decide, well, the dude's over, so we're going to go with it. And we're going to give him a big push, and he's going to be in this match here for the number one contendership. I wouldn't have done that, but they decided that they were going to do it. Okay, so with that said, once they've decided that they're going to do that, they did everything they could possibly do to get this guy over before he lost. This was the Keith Lee show. Keith Lee ran wild at the beginning. He runs both guys over. He's smashing dudes. He's doing everything that he does great and very little that he does not do great. Every time they beat him down, he does the big giant comeback. He's smashing both guys. He finally, at the end, hits his big move, and he's surprised out of nowhere. And if you pay attention, Balor comes off the top. He pins Keith Lee. You can hear the crowd furious, okay? They immediately play Balor's music. They get both the other guys out of there. They vanish. and they bring Adam Cole out on the ramp, and they're immediately pushing this big match for next week for the title.
Yes.
They're doing everything they can to make you forget what you just saw.
Basically, yeah.
They did everything. This was like Vince and Roman Reigns. He tried everything. He tried every last single solitary thing to get that guy over. It never worked, but man, he tried. They tried everything to protect Keith Lee. So I have to give him credit for that. What I would have done was, I presume that Adam Cole beats Finn Balor, and I presume that Tommaso Ciampa is challenging and winning the title at the TakeOver show in Portland in the middle of February. Okay? If that show isn't until the middle of February, Ciampa's the guy who should have done the job here. Because you don't put the brakes on Keith Lee. The guy's not getting his championship match for 2.5 months. I'm pretty sure you can rehab Ciampa in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Not that he's going to need much rehabbing.
You can do it in 1 week.
You don't beat Lee, you get the Finn Balor thing out of the way, and then away you go. But they decided that Keith Lee was the one doing the job. What can you do?
What can you do?
But he's over, so it's not the end of the world.
It was not.
I wouldn't have done it.
This was not a burial. Don't
No,
go
hell
out
no.
there
This
saying,
was the opposite of a burial.
Don't go out there saying Vinny said they buried Keith Lee.
No.
Vinny never said this. It's not the finish I would have done. When this show was over, I was like, man, that was a great episode of NXT. And we go back and review it. There was an awesome opener.
It's WCW.
Kinda. There was an awesome opener. There was a pretty good main event, and not much in the middle.
Yes, you had a very, very good opener with something that was very, very memorable. And then the show ended with a great match. So when the moment the show's over, even though you're mad about Keith Lee, your thought is, man, that was a great television show.
Yeah.
But it was a great sandwich.
Yes. There's 2 great pieces of bread with rotten meat in the middle.
That's not a great sandwich. Anyway.
And the meat wasn't rotten. It was just not very good.
Yes.
We also watched AEW Dynamite, also December 11th of the year 2019. Jon Moxley versus a geek with a tag team partner. I skipped the entrances. They didn't mention his name. The partner is John Silver. So Moxley wrestled John Silver's partner and pinned him in seconds. And then John Silver got in the ring. He was also destroyed in seconds. The Inner Circle then comes out to confront Moxley. The crowd is chanting something very obscene. TNT tried their best to censor the crowd, which made, for a while, the whole segment unwatchable.
What'd they say? You don't have to say it, but, like, give me a hint.
It was, F him up, Moxley.
Oh.
Something along those lines.
It is funny because when we were kids, you couldn't say any kind of stuff like this on television. And like sometimes even on those Raw shows back in the day, they would try and bleep the crowd if the crowd was saying something really
Nitro was worse, but yes.
really profane.
Yeah.
But like now the rules have been loosened. So you can in fact say the word shit on cable.
Which I believe Jericho does every week.
You can say everything but fuck, I believe. There might be a couple of others, but you can say shit. But the funny thing was, Jericho says shit in this promo, which is fine. And then in the next video package, Excalibur says shit, and they bleeped him. That's weird.
I don't know. Maybe.
But yes, Jericho.
Le Champion gets a longer leash.
Jericho loves saying the word shit as much as Eddie Guerrero loves saying the word ass.
It was Owen.
Owen did too.
Owen Hart loved saying the word ass.
Eddie did too.
So did Vince.
Vince did as well. Vince loved saying anything.
Well, that actually is the best.
He loved saying suck 19 years ago this week.
He actually did. He did.
I've never heard a human being in my lifetime manage to say the word suck like Vince said it.
He said it like it was spelled SUCKHHHHHHH.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yes, it was. So the Inner Circle comes out. They surround the ring, and Jericho very cautiously, very carefully gets in the ring to address Jon Moxley. Says, a decade ago, when you were first breaking out the national scene, you asked me for advice. How to get over. How to be a star. And you did get over. You did become a star. Then they became adversaries, and we beat the living shit out of each other. And I pressed pause and thought, Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose was a thing? And I looked it up, and they had a whole long feud, and Ambrose put him in thumbtacks. I had forgotten about all this. So, says you showed up at Double or Nothing, and you laid me out, but I'm okay with that, because it showed you still got a chip on your shoulder. You're still an asshole. You're still a winner. But again, Jon Moxley, you need me. Just imagine what you could do as part of the inner circle. I know it's a tough question. I don't expect an answer tonight. Go home, talk it over with your lovely wife. Go talk it over with your mother, who I've met. She's a great lady. Take the holidays, think hard, choose wisely, and when you're ready, we'll be waiting. And he leaves an Inner Circle t-shirt on his shoulder, and the Inner Circle leaves, and Jon Moxley seems conflicted.
So I mentioned last night that, and granted, when we agreed to go on the Jericho cruise, there was no AEW. But now it's like a little bit weird because we are going on the Jericho cruise, and every week I come on the show and I talk about how Chris Jericho is the greatest.
Yes.
And it sucks because... Actually, it doesn't suck because he's so great that I think everybody just knows he actually is great. And I'm not saying this because of the boat. He is so great.
Yeah.
And one of the things about Jericho that we don't mention here is that everything that he does just makes me so happy as a fan.
Yeah.
Because it's so simple and it's so effective. I could be wrong about this, but last week when he was going over the list of people that he was not going to wrestle,
The lexicon of Le Champion.
lexicon of Le Champion, he said that Moxley's name like 8 times.
Correct.
Okay, so a lot of people were like, well, Jericho clearly wants to face Moxley. I saw it as, that's the guy he really doesn't want to face. Because when he's listing all the guys he's not going to wrestle, he says Moxley's name 6 times.
Yes.
Okay?
He's most concerned about avoiding Jon Moxley.
Yes, that's the whole key. The Chris Jericho character, to me, I could be wrong, what I see when I watch this, he doesn't want to face Jon Moxley. So what happens this week? Well, of course, he comes out and he asks Moxley to join his crew.
Of course.
Like, I knew where it was leading, but later on in the show, they announced the main event for next week. And on the screen, it just says, Chris Jericho versus Jungle Boy, 10-minute time limit.
Yeah.
Non-title.
Yes.
It just made me so happy. Because whenever there's an announcement of something in WWE, I read it and I'm always skeptical. Because it's just, they're always going to mess something up. It's always going to be a disaster. Like, sometimes things are okay, but here's the best way to put it. I'm disappointed 9 times out of 10, okay? Mm-hmm. There's no way that I will be disappointed with what they do with Chris Jericho and the Jungle Boy next week. I don't think there's any way. They could go the 10-minute time limit and Jericho can't beat him. They can go 9 minutes and 55 seconds and Jungle Boy beats him in a non-title match. This leads to a title match down the road. You go from there. There's so many things that they can do with this simple storyline. And the key is, I don't know which one they're going to do, but I'm very confident that it will be satisfying to me as a wrestling fan.
Sure. Yeah, no, this
I
is
just loved him out there.
this is good storytelling.
I would talk it over with your wife, your mother, a great lady. Yeah. I met her. It's so obvious what's going on. It's no bullshit. There's no swerves. There's no stupid overthinking.
No.
It's just so simple and obvious and great.
That's the last key. It's simple and obvious, but you're still having fun watching it.
Yes, keep it fucking simple. That's what I said at the beginning of this show. There's like one guy who's keeping it simple, and it's Chris Jericho.
So after the opener and this promo, the announcers run down the card. Luchasaurus versus Sammy Guevara. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus, is it Kip Sabian?
Yes.
I don't know if it's Sabian. And Shawn Spears. In her debut, Big Swole versus Emi Sakura. And the Street Fight main event tag team match between the Young Bucks and Proud and Powerful. The winner of that match gets a title match against SCU next week, December 18th, the biggest day of the year in wrestling. And also on this show, in fact, next, Cody and QT Marshall versus The Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
So that is the match. Butcher and Blade comes out, and their graphic reads, making AEW debut as MJF's henchman.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Well, you know, they didn't air the original MJF promo on television, but he did do an inset promo here, and they did put on the graphic on the screen. He has brought these men in.
Yes. He has a little inset promo. Thank you, Cody, for being such an idiot that you would allow the Butcher and the Blade to pick your partner, and they work for me, so I'm picking your partner. I have picked QT Marshall. Best of luck, champ. Oh, wait, I can't call you champ. You can't be that. So, the match was good. Basic. They didn't reinvent the wheel or anything. They had a good formulaic TV tag match.
It was a totally fine,
Yes.
fun tag team match. The crowd loved it.
Mm-hmm.
QT Marshall, they absolutely loved the guy. Even when he does the ugliest space flying tiger drop
What
of
is it hideous?
all time.
Was it
It
just-
was beyond
An
hideous.
actual tiger would have done better.
It was beyond hideous. But you know what? He tried, and so they reacted like he hit it.
Sure. My favorite part of this match actually was when they're building to crescendo. They got the heat on Marshall. They're teasing the hot tag several times, and they tease a hot tag. They do a big double team, and Marshall just barely kicks out, and Butcher grabs a wrist lock. And Jim Ross, who is my voice in the show, says, "You got him on the ropes. Finish him off. Be aggressive. Don't put him in a wrist lock." So, QT Marshall, by the way, I believe also botched Crossroads in this match.
He did.
Apparently, this is the hardest move in the world to
That's
do.
what I concluded. I never did a crossroads once in my entire
No.
career, and I never will try.
I did think, because there's eventually a hot tag to Cody and a long back and forth, and this went a little too long, and they went a little bit too out of their way to protect QT Marshall. You don't need to give him 200 near falls before you beat him. Finally, they hit the big double team, the suplex onto the knees. A little bit long, but a very good tag match.
You know, I have to think really hard, but I believe that I have seen the Crossroads messed up more times in the last 2 weeks than I've ever seen a Shooting Star Press messed up. There was Brock,
Yeah.
Kidman. I never saw the one Jericho messed up, so I'm at
There
2.
was no cameras there, yeah.
Is there another one that really got badly botched that I'm forgetting?
There's got to be one in Mexico at some point.
Anyway,
So
why can no one do this move?
I don't know. I've seen it done for decades now. It's never occurred to me. I also never tried one, but it never looked to me like a particularly difficult move. But I clearly was wrong. So Cody is sulking on the floor when Darby Allin storms out, pushes by the Butcher and the Blade, helps Cody to his feet. Apparently, Cody has one friend in this world now.
Well, they didn't say this on television, but Darby put it on his social media.
Oh, great.
So hopefully they'll talk about it next week. And they got plenty of time to talk about it, so I'm not that mad about it. But Darby's explanation is, we went to a 20-minute draw. I want a chance to beat you, so I'm going to team with you. And if I help you beat the Butcher and the Blade, I want my rematch so that I can then get my revenge.
Okay.
That's apparently the story.
I hope they do that on TV.
Yes.
Because that's a perfectly fine little story that extends us all for one more week. MJF comes out for a promo. I love MJF. I know I'm not alone. He harasses Cord
Thank God
Boy.
he doesn't have a boat.
That would be
I'll be putting this guy over every
a
week.
different cruise.
Holy smokes, 23 years old.
I think the MJF cruise would be he'd get a big giant boat, but he and Wardlow would be the only people on it,
Yeah.
which actually sounds awesome. So, yes, 23-year-old MJF comes out like the world is his. He harasses one of the grips, who he calls Cord Boy, because Cody said MJF had done the worst Crossroads of all time 2 weeks ago, and you laughed at this, Cord Boy, but all will be forgiven if you kiss the ring. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Kiss the Ring Cody's gimmick in ROH?
Yeah.
So that's even better. He's just ripping off Cody left and right. So this guy does kiss the ring, but of course he's MJF, so you can't trust this fucker. And he grabs him. Now I think they call his move the double cross. And I'm not certain. I think he actually spins the other way with the guy.
Whatever he's doing, he barely made it around this one either.
It was better than last week.
It was better than last week.
Yes. So the crowd again is being censored, which means MJF is being censored. But MJF eventually, he puts Cody over. You're a great promo, but I am better. And all that show you did about trying to get a match with me, I don't need any of your crap, and I don't need your money. I need you to suffer. You decided to call me a knockoff Chris Jericho. And you said the scarf I wear is a fake. Well, I'm not fake. Cody is fake. You're out here with your fake blonde hair that looks like a cat pissed in it. You're out here with your Gary Busey beaver teeth. And the way you suck up to your fans, it's all fake. And, of course, you have that lisp. And he makes fun of Cody's lisp for a while. Says, you might suck up to your friend Tony Khan, try to get me fired, but you don't want me fired. You want to get your hands on me. Well, guess what, Cody? It's on. But I have some stipulations. And I'm not going to share those stipulations here in Honkyville, USA, Texas.
Honkyville.
I haven't heard the word honky.
It's been a while.
Like the original Vacation movie, I think. He'll give Cody the stips in Jacksonville. So I thought, man, they're really building up for the next week's show. No, the Jacksonville show is January 1st.
Yeah.
We have 3 weeks to think of these stips now. He knows Cody's foaming at the mouth, but I'm in control because I'm better than you, and you know it. MJF is the best.
So, I think I can talk about this because I think he mentioned it on a show, but several years ago, I had Alex Shelley on one of the shows, and I think he talked about it on the air. I don't think he'd care anyway, but when he grew up, he read Figure 4 Weekly. And when I heard that, I was like, what?
Yeah, you're old.
What the fuck?
You're very old.
Alex Shelley grew up reading Figure 4 Weekly. Like,
yes.
What the fuck? Maxwell Jacob Friedman, he wasn't even born when I started Figure 4 Weekly.
Yeah.
He was born in 1996.
Yes. Yeah.
I started this.
We are decrepit
and
wizards.
he was born a year later.
Yeah.
So, the most amazing thing about MJF is how good he is at promos.
Yes.
When he was 10, WCW had already died, ECW had died, WWE was in the doldrums. He was 10 in the year 2006. We had been doing this podcast for a year when he was 10. Okay, so I think what this is, but I don't know because, like, all these young people should be good if my theory is correct. Back in the day, like, if you were 23 years old, I mean, you basically had to learn from the other people in your promotion, or I guess maybe you could try and get a hold of some tapes, or you could watch whatever was on TV. This MJF grew up in a world where every last single thing you could ever want to watch, every great promo,
is on your phone.
Is on your phone.
Yeah.
This guy, he could be in detention. He could be on a trip with his family, going to and from school on the bus, just sitting there watching every single promo from the 80s. There probably is no promo, no famous promo that MJF has not watched 1,000 times. And now here he is. Because of that, he's 23 years old, and he's out there holding his own with 49-year-old Chris Jericho, who has been everywhere and has done everything.
Yes.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
It is mind-boggling how great he is at that. He's great at that. In a way, it's the hardest thing to be great at.
Oh, yeah.
To take the microphone and stand alone in the ring and just own a 10,000
Not even that. Like, how long do you think he's been working in front of crowds this big? I can tell you, since October.
Yeah.
Okay? And
he fits right in.
On top of that, I'll tell you the truth. When I first saw MJF for the very first time I ever saw him, I thought, that is an EC3 ripoff.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman. What? And now, like, I'm a fool, okay? First off, his real name is Maxwell Friedman. So, I mean,
sure,
that's his name.
Yeah.
It's not Jacob, but he is not just a guy doing the 3-letter nickname rich kid gimmick, okay? Mm-hmm. When he mentioned Cody's lisp, these fans were furious. Like, I thought that there was going to be a stabbing. They were so mad at this fucking guy for having the nerve to be that mean to their friend Cody.
They do love Cody.
Nobody talks about Cody's lisp, you fucker. They were so angry. This was real, legit, honest to God heat this guy was drawing with this promo. Not this stupid Baron Corbin bullshit where you just want to turn off the television. Like, these people were mad at this guy. These people want Cody to beat this guy's ass.
The first time I saw MJF, it was on YouTube, which is another way you can get great at promos, by the way. Record your own promos, put them on YouTube. You will get better. Then erase the bad ones when you're done. But anyway, and he was in somebody's backyard talking about one of his smaller estates, and the pool's not very big. But anyway, and I thought to myself, that was a really good version of like an EC3 promo. Or later down the road, I remember someone said, he just strikes me as a Miz ripoff. Now, beyond even the opinion of who you prefer to watch more, Miz or MJF, I didn't want to discuss that part. The point is, neither of them is original. There have been spoiled, rich characters who thought they were better than everyone else since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
So, whether it's a ripoff or not is not the point. The point is how awesome he is at doing it. And he's unbelievable at it. So anyway, we have a wacky skit. Some lonely guy in a hotel watching the pay-per-view channels, and I was really creeped out by this.
It's Alex Reynolds that got beat in the opener.
Oh, was it now?
In the fastest finish of all time in AEW history.
See if I'd...
Dark Order tells him to stop being a jobber.
Aren't you tired of being a jobber yet, Alex, they say. You can join our loyalty program if you're tired of losing all the time.
Yeah.
So he's watching on the hotel and the TV in his hotel room, and it kind of goes back and forth between being generic hotel entrances and specific messages directed specifically at him. He's also going on his phone, going through dark spoilers. I believe they said he's looking at the dark spoilers, and I saw this tag team, and I thought it was a joke. But then the guy on the screen mentions, we have been watching the Beaver Boys.
Yeah.
Is that actually their name?
Apparently.
Wow. We've been watching the Beaver Boys lose with great interest. Stop losing and start winning. Just join us. Join the Dark Order. And then Beaver Boy Dose walks in and asks Alex who he's talking to.
I like it.
The Dark Order stuff is fun. You know what's fun?
I hope next week on the television, the Dark Order tells him, Vinny didn't even know you were the same guy that did a job in the opener.
That would be...
You need to quit losing and start winning.
Yes. Your loss was so pathetic, it made zero impression on
By
me.
the way, Ken, what the fuck's going on with this thing?
I have acquired it.
You have?
Yes.
All right. Well, what I want you to do is send me... you can tweet it if you want.
Okay.
I'll retweet it, and I will send it to whatever the... What was that email? Anyway.
JoinDarkOrder.com?
I think you do hashtag. Or,
Oh, was
yeah,
it?
they said to tweet it with the hashtag.
They did,
Join
yes.
Dark Order.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure you tweet it, but I feel like I sent an email. Anyway.
No, they would want you to tweet it.
I mean, I got an email response, so I must have got it. I must have done something, right?
Yes.
Read it
Did
again.
I fill out a form?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I went to the website.
Yeah.
There
But
we
they sent
go.
you an email.
Yeah, joindarkorder.com. There we go. All right. So send it to me, and I'll get it to them.
Okay.
Anyway, these Dark Order skits are great because each one leads into what happens the next week. There's an episodic feel to them. It's not just the same stuff every week.
Sure as hell isn't.
Big Swole versus Emi Sakura. So Big Swole really isn't that big. I was expecting female Big E to come out.
Well, the problem, Vinny, is we watched all that WCW where they had that wrestler named Swole.
Yeah, this is not Swole.
Absolutely gigantic. And yeah, when I first heard Big Swole, I was expecting Swole.
She's a muscular, athletic woman.
I mean, she has way more swole than like 95% of women. Maybe 99%.
Yes.
But she ain't that big.
We've also been watching China and Asia and Malaysia on the show.
That's true.
And they're all bigger than her. Now, that said, she is very muscular and very athletic and charismatic as all hell.
There we go. Join us. Dark Order. JoinDarkOrder.com/contact. That's how I got a hold of them. All right.
Emi, by the way, also had a crossroads in this match. So I guess that's like a punch in AEW. When you don't know what else to do a crossroads. So they're doing this match. Basically, it was a fine match that went on a little too long. My biggest problem is Emi's doing the Freddie Mercury gimmick. And some weeks, I think she's supposed to be a heel all the time. Some weeks the crowd likes her because she's funny. Some weeks they boo her.
Dude, she's Angel Garza. She's supposed to be a heel, but the people absolutely love her, and she should just be a babyface.
Yeah. So they decided to do some comedy with a mic stand. But this is something, if you're going to do this, you got to do it right at the beginning, so you get the comedy out of the way, then you do the wrestling. Or you got to do it right at the very end so it leads into the finish. When they do a match, and then in the middle of the match, like they're doing holds, and Emi has the mic and is pretending to sing into it. And then Swole breaks free and starts to do a song and dance instead of a comeback. They both look dumb.
Well, there's also the issue that Chris Jericho has a mic stand. Or Chris Daniels.
He does have a mic stand.
Yeah, so why do we have 2 mic stands in AEW?
Well, the answer is because Emmy's doing a Queen gimmick and Freddie Mercury had a mic stand. Daniels actually get a chance, at least for last week, led to the crowd in chants of SCU along with the music. Maybe he doesn't need a stand. Just give him a mic. So anyway, another match that went too long. Not every match needs a dozen near falls. Swole won with a ripcord rolling elbow. It was pretty cool. And Hikaru Shida in the crowd was very surprised by this, which was an upset. Big Swole winning her debut. But I like Big Swole. I'd like to see more of Big Swole.
Was too long, though.
Yeah. Jen Decker interviews Pac.
So, Jen didn't ask that dumb a question. It was actually a decent question.
A perfectly fine question.
But she goes, Pac, you are clearly trying to get the attention of Kenny Omega. What message are you trying to send him? He stops and he looks at her and he just stares at her for 5 full seconds with utter disdain for the question she has asked.
Yes.
It's like, this had to be a message to WWE. But she didn't ask a stupid question was the problem. So anyway, he wants a rubber match. Or he's going to run wild.
This is what he says. He has come here for opportunity. He has only received injustice. One dominating performance after another, but he's not gotten what he wanted. He wants his rubber match with Kenny Omega. If he does not get it, he will not be responsible for his actions. Kip Sabian and Sean Spears versus Hangman Page and Kenny Omega.
I have been asking for weeks.
Hang on a second. Let's count. This is the 11th episode of AEW Dynamite. We finally got to hear Tully Blanchard speak.
Yes. Tully's done a couple of promos, but they have not been on television. And
then they don't count.
He finally gets a chance to cut a promo, and it's not very good.
It wasn't.
I was like, what?
Maybe.
You had one short promo, Tully. I know you can talk. I saw you at Cauliflower Alley.
Okay. Because I was going to say, maybe he's just maybe he does not still have it. It was not a very good promo, but he's looking for a new tag team partner for Sean Spears.
Well, I mean, maybe part of the problem was that was what he had to talk about. He's talking about the Horsemen and how great, Arn and Tully and Ole and Flair, and then he's got to talk about how maybe Kip Sabian and Sean Spears might be the best tag team in the world.
He actually said this.
I'm like, that's going out on a limb, buddy. Nothing against those guys, but I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident that Sean Spears and Chris Sabian, or Kip Sabian, are not going to be the best tag team in the world.
That would be an upset.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're doing this match. Penelope Ford is interfering left and right. I may have done the best high spots in the heel team, so why not?
Yeah, she did.
And somebody was crawling for a tag when the lights go out.
Well, Omega hit a V trigger and the lights went out.
Okay. When they come back up, Joey Janela has Tully Blanchard pretending to be bound and gagged on stage. He's pretending badly to be tied up that he can't move. Sean Spears, showing emotion for the first time maybe in all of 2019, runs up the ramp to make the save. He's brawling with Janela. The crowd is just perplexed by all of this. And so Sabian's left alone in the ring. Omega hits a V-trigger, and then Hangman tags himself in, hits the buckshot, and gets the pin. And Omega is surprised, but they won. So he shrugs, and they move on.
Yeah, the crowd had no idea what was going on because Janela is supposed to be a babyface. Spears is a heel. Tully is a heel. But, Spears and Tully did do the spike pile driver on Joey Janela off the steps. And the problem was, everybody cheered because it was a spike pile driver off the steps and Tully, jumped, landed on his feet. But, man, when you take an old legend like Tully and you kidnap him, he's bound and gagged on the stage, and his charge rushes out of the ring to go to his aid.
Yeah.
I mean, the psychology is backwards.
This was a noble act by Sean Spears.
Yes, it was a noble act, and it was a dastardly act by Joey Janela. I realize that, Tully helped beat him up, but it's Tully Blanchard, dude. Just kidnap this guy and tie his hands and mouth.
The audacity of kidnapping.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Brandy Stuff, my notes read.
Yeah, she buries all the women. Really buried Britt Baker.
Yes.
Called her a groupie, basically.
A pathetic, literally. Yeah. That was her quote. A pathetic groupie is what she said.
Yes.
She's still trying to recruit Chris Statlander. We are waiting for the alien to come home, she says.
Yes.
And she's in there. I don't think I saw Kong in this group, but the The gal who came out of the crowd last week and got a haircut, she was there.
Yeah.
And there's some bald fella.
I don't know who that guy was.
Did not show his face, and Brandon says it's not time yet.
Maybe that was Evil Uno.
I guess.
They are all coming together.
I thought about
Who knows?
Jericho takes over the announce desk with Ross.
Outraged that Excalibur told him he didn't know what lexicon meant.
Yes, he was.
He's got the exact definition to prove that he was right.
And the etymology,
Yes.
the Greek roots of it all.
Yes.
Luchasaurus is not the only one with a college degree, he says.
And he notes, I've been having trouble with Shivani for 25 years.
Skiavon.
Well, yes.
Yes. Luchasaurus versus Sammy Guevara. My favorite moment of this is when Jericho, they're talking about how legit Luchasaurus is, his height and how dangerous he is and all this, but Jericho adds, he is not a legit dinosaur, and you can't convince me otherwise.
He was so great.
Yes.
Talking about Jungle Boy.
Amazing.
He actually flat out says, Jungle Boy, Jungle Jack Perry, the son of Luke Perry. Well, finally somebody tells
The
us.
late, great Luke Perry.
Yes.
So,
How terrible it is this Jurassic Express gangs up on people.
yes.
Disgusting.
Yes.
Just the stuff that makes me smile.
Yes, he's a fun, hypocritical heel.
Yes.
Yes. All I wrote about this was I did not have a very good week for wordiness. They do a match and Lucha wins with a
Well,
spinning
there's
face
nothing
plant.
to happen about it. There's nothing to talk about in the match. It was all afterwards.
That makes me feel better. So Lucha wins with a spinning face plant. Jericho and Hager attack, and Hager and Luchasaurus are brawling outside as Jungle Boy and Jericho are brawling in the ring. And Jungle Boy hits a big Rana, and Marco hits the ring and counts 3.
Yeah.
And Jim Ross is sure to point out it's unofficial, in
Yes.
case you may have been confused.
Jericho made sure to announce it didn't count.
Yes, but he's still outraged.
He's outraged. He's been embarrassed.
He's humiliated by what this young punk has done, thinking he'd out-wrestle him. We had a commercial for the next pay-per-view.
Now, the only thing, I loved this, but the one thing that I did think about was the whole idea of next week is Jericho says, you can't beat me in 10 minutes.
You can't last 10 minutes.
You can't last 10 minutes with me. Well, the week before, he pinned him in 30 seconds. Less! It's immediate.
It's not a fair fight, Brian.
I realized
He's
that.
caught off guard.
I realized that. But yes, it was Jericho's reaction was great. Jungle Boy was great. Fans went absolutely insane for him pinning Chris Jericho. It was all great.
I would rather have him hit a cradle and have his short friend count 3 than have him hit a dozen moves and leave Jericho laying.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have that big a problem with
Just
it.
embarrassed,
I
right?
found it was ironic.
So they announced the next pay-per-view.
He beat him in 5 seconds to set up I can't beat you in 10 minutes match. That's essentially what this is.
That is kind of how it went. So 2 things about the next pay-per-view. First of all, it's on Leap Day. And I hope this becomes a regular event where we get this pay-per-view every 4 years. Second of all, it is called AEW Revolution, which I think has been the name for about 84 different pay-per-views by now. Not very original. Still a better name than Full Gear. 2 matches announced for next week.
Should mention, by the way, that when they announced that show was on February 29th, I suddenly realized my daughter is 4 years old because she was 6 hours away from being born on Leap Year Day,
Yes.
February 29th.
Your daughter is 4 years old.
Holy smokes.
Which makes you 4 years older than you were when she was
Jiminy
born.
Christmas.
We're all getting
MJF was 19 when she was born. What?
You're all getting closer to death. Next week, 2 matches announced. Chris Jericho versus Jungle Boy, non-title with a 10-minute time limit. Which is the most wonderful
I
old
just
school
loved it.
thing.
Yeah, that's what's so great.
Yes.
It's like watching a territory show.
It is.
On national television. Where everything else is totally modern. That's one of the reasons it works.
It stands out.
Because the stuff he's doing is so old school in this crazy new school promotion.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
He is an 80s territorial heel.
Yes.
Working with a bunch of luchadors and indie guys.
Yes, it's the greatest.
Yes. Also next week, Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. The main event, street fight tag match, the Young Bucks versus Proud and Powerful. SCU is in the crowd. Both teams took times to recognize them. Although before that, they jumped the Young Bucks on the stage along with Sammy Guevara. Brandon Cutler ran out to make the save and got powerbombed through the stage. What a geek he is. And then the Bucks hit the Indie Taker on the stage on Guevara to take him out and make him back to a 2-on-2 match.
My one complaint about this match is that none of the announcers had any idea if it had started. And in fact, Excalibur said it hadn't started. And the next thing you know, the ref's counting. So I don't know if somebody forgot to ring a bell or what happened here, but that was weird.
No one seemed to know what was going on. The only two things of note were, once the actual match in the ring began, or even at ringside area, because SCU was shown in the front row. They will face the winner of this next week. And both teams took the time to, in the middle of they'd already been hitting each other with weapons and everything, they still took time to go over and do a little jaw-jacking for next week. And then they're in Dallas. So at one point, Matt put on the Dallas Cowboys football helmet. The crowd goes crazy. And, of course, Proud and Powerful are stupid heels, so they punch him in the helmet and sell their hands. So Hager runs out. The ref gets bumped. Make a long story short. Dustin Rhodes attacks Hager. The Bucks hit more bang for your buck, but there's no ref. So then Aubrey runs out, and the crowd loves Aubrey. And the Proud and Powerful hit the street sweeper onto a trash can, and Aubrey counts 1, and Aubrey counts 2, and Nick pulls Aubrey out of the ring, and the whole crowd boos.
They were furious that he laid his hands, even though it was saving the match for the babyfaces. You do not touch Aubrey Edwards.
Yes, this is where you know not everything in AEW. Some things in AEW have gone flat out wrong, and one of them is Aubrey Edwards at this point is a bigger star than the Young Bucks.
I don't know if I'd say a bigger star, but don't lay your hands on her, no matter who you are. That's the lesson.
So
Cody could pull her out of the ring, and these fans would be outraged.
There's 700 tables out there. I don't even know who set them all up. They may have been out there from the get-go, but every once in a while, a guy would take a punch and fall off the apron through a table. Just completely
There's
random.
a lot of tables out there.
And eventually, the Bucks hit a Meltzer driver onto the chairs and won. I know we've been watching a lot of hardcore matches on old school Raw and Nitro, so that's why I was burned out on this, and this was much better than all of those. But this felt like nothing I had not seen 500 times in my life.
Well, hey, it was a hardcore street fight main event. Nick Jackson had the flu. That
doesn't help.
He was dying. He said it was the hardest match he'd ever done in his life.
That's bad.
I guess they just figured, they were telling him not to do the match, but I guess his mindset was, dude, we don't have time to change this. I got to do this match. And he went out there and he did this match with the flu. You never would have known. He gutted his way through it, and I thought it was a very good match. Not the best match of the night, but a very good match. And yes, next week it is the Young Bucks versus SCU for the titles. Both teams had a stare down afterwards as the show ended. And that was AEW. I did love, by the way, the one other thing I loved was Ortiz has his sock full of balls. Mm-hmm. And Jim Ross, I don't know why I found this so funny. He starts giving us a history lesson about how in the early 1900s, prison guards used weapons like this to subdue inmates because it didn't leave a lot of bruising.
That was odd.
And I was like, are you talking about the sock full of balls? If you fucking hit me with a sock full of balls, I'm bruising everywhere. Maybe it's talking about the trash can lid. I don't know.
It was a strange comment about the history of prison brutality.
Yeah, but
It's a strange subject to even know anything about.
I know, but I felt like he knew what he was talking about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know what he was talking about, but I felt like he knew what he was talking about.
That's the way to put it. Because I'm with you. If you hit me with a sock full of balls, I will bruise.
Yeah,
and cry.
I'll bruise all over the place.
Yeah.
Jiminy, especially if those are baseballs.
That's what's implied.
I mean, if they're tennis balls, that ain't going to subdue me.
I suspect we're not supposed to think they are wiffle balls or
Okay.
ping pong balls.
All right.
Croquet balls, perhaps.
Well, Vinny, what's your vote for this week?
Oh, this is a tough one. When I finished AEW, I was certain NXT was better. Then we went back and recapped it, and I am not sure. I think I am still going to vote NXT. It had that great Leo Rush Angel Garza match, which years from now I will remember, and I will not remember anything else in either of these shows. It's very close, Brian, but I'm going to vote NXT.
Well, ironically, when I was done watching AEW and NXT, I was confident that AEW comfortably won. But after reviewing both shows, I'm much less certain. It was much closer upon reviewing them.
Which show did you watch first?
I watched AEW first.
So maybe this is whatever show we watch first we like better.
I don't know, because I'm still voting for AEW.
Okay.
So I'm voting for AEW. NXT had a very good opener. NXT had a very good main event, but that was a long stretch of nothing happening in the middle of that show.
Yes.
And the AEW show, I mean,
Had the Jericho promo, the MJF promo.
Moxley is super over. They got a star there. The Butcher and the Blade debut was pretty good.
Yeah.
The MJF promo was awesome.
It was the deeper show for sure.
Yeah, the Kenny Omega tag match was fun. The pinning of Chris Jericho was good, and it was a good main event. So I go AEW, but it's just like the demos this week.
It is actually.
Very, very close. Almost a tie.
I understand now why.
Yes, almost a tie.
This is why there was a tie.
All right, everybody, that's it. We're going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back on Sunday. There's a million shows this weekend, so you're not going to get NWA or Superstars this weekend. It'll be the WWE TLC pay-per-view.